Reading a nutrition label works exactly like reading the fine print on a predatory loan agreement. The headline number looks great, the real cost is buried in the details, and by the time you figure out what you actually agreed to, you've already paid. Once you see it this way, you cannot unsee it. That granola bar sitting in your bag right now? Flip it over. A standard Nature Valley Oats and Honey bar lists 12 grams of sugar per serving. Sounds manageable, right? Except the bag contains 2 bars, and almost nobody eats one. That's 24 grams of sugar in a single snack, more than a full-size Snickers bar at 20 grams. You did not accidentally eat a candy bar this morning. You were led to believe you ate something wholesome. This is not a one-brand problem. This is a 50-year-old system designed to confuse you, and today we are dismantling. The predatory fine print analogy is not an exaggeration. In 1994, the FDA introduced the Nutrition Facts Panel under the Nutrition Labeling and Education Act. Sounds protective, right? But the law gave food manufacturers enormous flexibility in how they define a serving size. A serving size is not how much a human being actually eats. It is the smallest defensible unit a company can list to make their numbers look favorable. Think about that for a second. A bag of Lay's classic chips lists a serving as 15 chips and 160 calories. Who in recorded history has eaten exactly 15 chips and closed the bag? Nobody. The serving size is a legal fiction dressed up as helpful information. This matters because your entire perception of whether a food is healthy is anchored to that fictional number. Your calorie tracking is off, your sugar intake estimates are off, your sodium calculations are off. Everything downstream of that one manipulated data point is corrupted, and food companies have known this since day one. Most people navigate food the way the industry wants them to. They glance at the front of the package. They see words like natural, multigrain, low-fat, made with real fruit, or lightly sweetened. These words feel like promises. They land in your brain as health endorsements. A 2019 study published in the journal Appetite found that front-of-package health claims increased a consumer's positive perception of a product by up to 40% regardless of the actual nutritional content inside. Front labels are marketing, full stop. Then when a slightly more health-conscious shopper does flip the package over, they check calories and maybe protein. They see the serving size, assume it matches reality, and move on. This is option A. It is the path of trusting the system at face value. And to be completely fair, it is entirely understandable. You are busy. You are not a food scientist. You were never taught to decode these labels in school. The system was built assuming you would not look closely. That assumption has been extremely profitable for the industry. Here is where it gets genuinely alarming. A 2021 analysis by the Environmental Working Group examined over 1,200 foods marketed specifically to children and health-conscious adults. They found that 74% of products with front-of-package health claims contained added sugars in amounts exceeding daily recommended limits per actual consumed portion, not per serving size, per the amount a real human being actually eats in one sitting. But the manipulation goes deeper than sugar. Low fat is perhaps the most dangerous label in the supermarket. When manufacturers remove fat, food tastes like cardboard. So they replace it with sugar, refined starches, and artificial flavor enhancers. A Yoplait original strawberry yogurt labeled low-fat contains 19 grams of sugar. A full-fat plain Greek yogurt by Chobani contains 4 grams of natural sugar from lactose, with no added sugar whatsoever. The low-fat option has nearly 5 times the sugar. Option B is what I call label literacy combined with portion reality. It is not complicated, it does not require a nutrition degree, but it does require you to do 3 specific things every single time you pick up a packaged food. First, ignore the front of the package entirely. Treat it like a billboard. It is advertising. Nothing on the front is regulated as factual nutritional guidance in the way you might assume. Second, flip to the back and find 2 numbers before anything else. Total added sugars and serving size. Not total sugars, added sugars. This distinction became mandatory on updated labels in 2020, and it is the single most important upgrade the FDA has made in decades. Natural sugars from whole fruit behave differently in your body than added sugars. They come packaged with fiber that slows absorption. Added sugars hit your bloodstream fast. Third, and this is the part most people skip completely, compare the serving size to what you actually eat. Not what you plan to eat with good intentions. What you actually eat. If the serving is 28 grams and you pour 80 grams into a bowl, Multiply every number on that label by 2.86. This is where option B starts to feel like having cheat codes for the grocery store. Let us run a direct comparison using a real-world breakfast scenario. Option A, breakfast. Quaker oatmeal squares cereal, a glass of Tropicana orange juice, and a Chobani Flip yogurt parfait. Option B, breakfast. Plain rolled oats with fresh blueberries, a whole orange, and full-fat plain Greek yogurt. Now here's the head-to-head data. The option: a breakfast by actual consumed portions, not labeled serving sizes, contains approximately 87 grams of sugar. 87. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 36 grams of added sugar per day for men and 25 grams for women. You have already blown past the entire daily limit before 9 a.m., and you ate foods that are universally perceived as healthy. The option B, breakfast, contains approximately 28 grams of total sugar, almost entirely from natural fruit sources with fiber intact, zero added sugar, and significantly more protein and healthy fat to sustain satiety for hours. Same perceived health category, completely different biological outcome. The gap is not about willpower or discipline or being a health fanatic. The gap is information. Option A keeps you running on a broken map. Option B gives you the actual terrain. The verdict is this: the food is not the only problem. The labeling system surrounding the food is the problem. A strawberry has never lied to you. An egg has never claimed to be something it is not. Whole, unprocessed foods are incapable of marketing manipulation because they have no package. The deeper you get into ingredient lists and nutrition panels, the more layers of intentional obfuscation you encounter. Manufacturers split sugars into multiple ingredient names: cane juice, dextrose, maltose, brown rice syrup, agave nectar, precisely because ingredient lists are displayed in descending order by weight. If you split one large sugar source into 4 smaller named sources, none of them ranks first on the list. Your brain reads the ingredient list and does not register the product as high sugar because sugar does not appear as the first word. This is not accidental. This was a deliberate strategic response to growing consumer awareness about sugar content in processed foods. The good news is awareness is the antidote. You now know the trick. You cannot be fooled the same way twice. Here is your practical action plan starting from your very next grocery run. Step 1. Photograph the nutrition label and ingredient list of every packaged food currently in your pantry. You are not throwing anything out yet. You are auditing. Awareness before action. Step 2. Use the 3-question framework I mentioned earlier. What is the serving size? What are the actual added sugars per real portion? What is the first ingredient? If the first ingredient is a form of sugar, refined grain, or an ingredient you cannot pronounce, place the item in your mental reconsider pile. Step 3. Invest in 2 tools that will permanently change how you eat. The first is a reliable kitchen food scale. Measuring cups lie. Volume measurements for dense foods like nuts, granola, and cheese are wildly inaccurate compared to weight measurements. I use a digital scale that measures in grams, and it costs under $15. The one linked in the description measures to 0.1 gram precision, which matters when you are tracking actual intake versus labeled serving sizes. The second tool is a nutrition label decoder reference guide. The one I recommend in the description breaks down every labeling loophole, ingredient alias, and front of package claim with plain language explanations. I have used it for 2 years and still reference it regularly in the grocery store. Knowledge compounds. The more fluent you become in this language, the faster you make accurate decisions without even thinking about it. You walked into this video thinking your granola bar was a healthy choice. You are walking out knowing it has more sugar than a candy bar, that low-fat labels often signal high sugar content, that serving sizes are legal minimums, not human portions, and that food companies have been splitting sugar sources into multiple ingredient names, specifically to prevent that information from appearing at the top of the list. That is 4 layers of the system decoded in under 10 minutes. This is why label literacy is not optional anymore. It is a survival skill in a food environment designed to work against your health interests. If you found this genuinely useful, share it with one person who eats granola bars thinking they are being healthy. The comment I want to see below is, what is the most misleading food label you have ever encountered? Drop the brand and the claim. I read every comment, and I am genuinely curious what you find when you start looking. Subscribe if you want to keep going deeper, because next week we are talking about the 11 ingredients the European Union has banned that are still legal in US food products. That one will make today's video feel like a warm-up. Disclaimer. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Nothing constitutes professional advice of any kind.